There we go. So I'll talk it over again.
All right.
This was my 1 hour breakout box and price trap. And the way this is designed is when price closes outside of the price trap, I get in on the next candle. Now, and my stop is at the bottom of the price trap. So my risk reward is usually pretty close to one, give or take. But in this particular case, the candle that closed outside the box was humongous. So it gave me a massive stop. The stop was like 100 pips. But as you know, as I've told you before, when I place a stop, I honor it. I go with it. I don't change it. I don't move it. I only move it closer. I never move it back to give it more room. So just by honoring the stop, letting it do its thing, I ended up where I wanted to be, which was I got 45 pips out of this. Usually on these box breakouts, my target is twice the size of the box. And if I'm there when I'm close to my first take profit, I'll split the trade and then let the other half run for the second box. But this all occurred and I never saw the entry or the exit because I was, away from the computer doing other stuff. I'm going to modify this because I like the simplicity of this where I just draw a box and the robot sets everything up. I have another one that has a lot more settings in it. And what I tried to do, uh, and I'm sorry, I have another breakout box robot that has a lot of settings in it, and I can set that one to take the breakout. Even though I drew this box on a 1 hour chart, I can set it to enter the trade at a close above the box on the 5 minute chart. So just to give you an example of how dramatic that entry would have been, I'll mark this candle and I will, what are these lines here? Let me get rid of this line. I'm not sure what this is. Okay, I'll mark this candle. Now I'll go down to the 5 minute and oh, I got to go back quite a bit. And I'll go down to the 5 minute and here you see my close outside the box in the 5 minute was right here, which meant instead of entering this trade 53 pips later, which is what happened here, I would have entered the trade here. And by the time I got to this point, I would have already been out of this trade with my 47 pips. So I'm going to take some of the math from the other robot, combine it with this robot, and create something that's a bit more suitable to my psyche. Because uh, you have to trade what's comfortable for your mind and for your emotions and all that. So I prefer simple, and I don't mind waiting. And so I try to structure things around those two concepts in my trading. So keep it simple and be patient. So
Is one of the features on the other EA that should the price exceed the size of the box or something like that?
yeah, that's called a uh, no trade pips. So if the box is more than X number of pips, but I use that primarily for news trading.
I
So
see.
yeah, so if the box gets to be too large and eats up too much of the daily range, then there's no point in taking the trade because there won't be enough left to really get you where you want to go with the trade.
Yeah.
So, but that's just a simple explanation of what I do with the price traps. And as I said, I have six in a row. All of them have 40 or more pips, and a couple of them have over 100 pips. So it pans out nice. It's nice money when you don't have to sit at the chart for a great length of time, but you do have to wait until you see a decent price trap. So that's where the cost comes in really is in the waiting for the setup.
I see.
Yep. Looking at today's chart, I'm going to be looking at this and the Renko, but looking at today's charts here, if you remember from Friday or Thursday, I pointed out that this candle was a clue for a continuation candle because when this candle closed, the body closed closer to its high than it did to the middle. And that's usually an indication of continuation in that direction. And sure enough, the price kept going. We weren't at the computer when all this happened, but if you go back and look at the chart in one of the videos, you'll see what I mean. Okay, and if we look around this chart, you'll see a couple of other examples. In this case, this candle closed closer to its high than it did to its middle, and the next candle continued short. We've got one here that closed closer to its high than it did to the middle, and usually they'll say it closed closer to the open than it did to the middle. I prefer looking at the high. Just my own preference. That seems to be a bit more accurate for me. And again, the next candle went in that direction. This is another binary thing too, by the way. Here's one right here where it closed closer to the high than it did to the middle, and sure enough, the next candle moved in that direction. Now, this candle obviously closed long, but you get the idea. The next price movement after one of these is usually in the direction of the wick, the longest wick, I should say. So I'm looking at this area here as to where these three candles may top out, but we need to see if I measure. Oh, that's the wrong tool. If I measure this pullback here, it's about. Geez, this thing is doing its thing again. See that, how it froze? That's this platform. I need to just download another platform. That was suggested to me. This is about a 300 pip drop from here to here. And if I measure from here up, 300 would be way up here someplace. But I'm thinking we're going to get a pause right here first, right in this area. So 300 would be up around these candles. All right, so if this is going to keep some sort of symmetry, this is where we're likely to stall out. All right, so I'll be watching it carefully. I'll be prepared to take a trade in both directions, but my bias obviously would be to the long side. And let's minimize this, and let's go over here to these. I was hoping Rob would show up. He posted a chart where he had said he had 5 losers in a row, 5 stop outs in a row, and I just have to see what he was trading, because 5 in a row that's really, I like that because it's good stuff we can learn from. And I want to see what he did on those 5 trades. Someone posted in the chat. This is the chart that he posted, and someone posted in the chat that it wasn't an A trade, and they were correct. I don't know who that was that said it, but he wanted to go long here. And an A trade, a good trade, would mean this 18 would be above this 89, and then you get your pullback. That's the best, highest quality trade. Also, does anyone remember the what do you wait for to see if a breakout is real or not? When you break above a key level or a key moving average, does anyone remember that rule we talked about? Bernd, how are you? I didn't see you there. Okay, I don't see anyone responding. Basically, here's a pretty good example of it. I like to see a candle close above that moving average, or a pivot point, or a double zero, or prior support and resistance. I want to see it close above, and this is key. The next candle cannot close back below that line. If the next candle closes back below that key area, it's a false breakout. Anyone remember that? Okay, I guess not. No one's responding. But you see here, we had the close above here, and the next candle came right back underneath this moving average. That's a false breakout. And with such a strong downtrend, I'm not exactly sure. Oh, I can't move this forward. This is a picture. I can't really be sure as to what he was looking for. All the other rules kind of panned out where we had to close above the 18. Uh, uh, we had the close above the 18. We had to swing low, higher swing low, close above the 18. That's always, I mean, well, that's the vast majority of the time that will move right back to the 89. Swing low, higher swing low, back to the 89. All right. Here was another one here, it closed above, but it didn't go back. You see that right here and here? Most of the time, this will go back to the 89. But, nothing is I keep trying to move this chart forward. Let me minimize this. So our first trade here, this was a little bit before we started, which is right here, but this was before we started, would be this trend line in here, right there. And our entry could be here. Let's slide this over, see how that relates to the other charts. Let me get rid of this cross here. Okay. So in this situation here, this trend line break coincides with this position, so that would have been a decent trade. We were talking about these Renko bars and this situation with the wicks here, and I did want to point out something that let me open this up. While we're still looking for a trade setup, is when you're able to draw trend lines or ranges. I'll do a range. This is a trend line and a range. I could do it either way. With these bars, you'll see that as you touch the bottom here, you see you get the turn up on the stochastic. You get up near the top. You didn't get a touch at the top, but you did get that wick that was higher than the prior candle. Does everyone see that? Turn this off. Okay, so you see here, you have the higher wick than the prior candle, and this is after a run of at least two candles in one direction, and you've got the oversold on the stochastics, overbought rather. Same thing down here at the bottom, you've got that wick that's lower than the prior candle, and the candle is the opposite color after at least two in a row, and you got the turn up, and then here, the same thing, you've got the turn down, and in here it gets real muddy and nasty. And this wick is just by one candle. Okay, so this one would have been a trade that didn't pan out right in here. But the next one would have been a decent trade all the way up to the top. Okay, so with these Renko bars and some simple indicators, you do get some really nice setups. It's a matter of picking the indicator that you're comfortable with, picking the situation you're comfortable with. And similar situation here with the mean Renko. Let me slide this back here. Let me just see where this lines up. Now here on the mean Renko, okay, on the mean Renko, we would have had an entry between these two candles. If you look at my cross here, the yellow line, and look at the blue line, as I move the yellow marker from one candle to the next, you'll see it jumps dramatically over on the mean Renko bar. See that? It's a difference of 3 bars there. So in the mean Renko, this certainly could have been a trade entry here, and your entry right there at the close of the candle. And a similar situation where you have the longer wick than the prior candle. And where are we now with this trade? This should have been 5. Wow, it's almost 20 pips already on that trade. Any questions or thoughts? Let me set this up. Everybody's quiet today. Must be Monday all over the world. Good, 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 good. Okay, so we're good here. So again, my bias is long. Let's open this up. And so essentially what I'm looking for right now is a push up, preferably above these highs. So I'm looking for a move up and then pull back, and then I'll look to take another long trade here. We're close to our daily range. See that? We had 126 from Friday. We're around 98. So I'm going to be careful and just wait for see if things pan out. And this looks like it wants to give us a 1-2-3 here, but we'll see what happens. And here you see we've got one push up, nice big push, second big push. We got a little one in here. Usually the pushes, I like to see at least two candles. So that's a pause, that's a pause. Again, a couple of other pauses. We had another entry here, decent one here. Not so, yeah, decent one there. And decent one there. Hey. So here's that breakout rule where we had a candle that closed above our a key level. In this case, the key level is the 89, but it could be a double zero, a pivot point, or prior support or resistance. But the concept is the same. It closes above, and the next candle does not come back and close below this line. That's key. So this would have given me confidence to take a long trade here. Now, this pullback was pretty deep, so it could have been a trade that didn't pan out, but that's how I avoid that fake breakout. And it eventually did continue in the new direction. Let's go back. Oh, okay. I've got the scroll on. Let's clean this up a little bit. Yeah, I'll try to catch up with Rob later because I'd like to see what it was he did. And we'll bring this down here. I'm going to try to venture into a couple of other things later in the week. And there are a number of very nice systems you can create using any of these forms of bars, depending on which one you like. And I have to dig up the George. That's something I promised that to somebody. And that was the one where there was a senator, a congressman. He taught his page the method for using Heikin Ashis. And we're still on pound dollar. Interesting here, you see that the on the mean Renko, we've closed below the 18, indicating this could go back down here to the 89. But it didn't do it on the Heikin Ashi and didn't do it on the traditional candles, and just closed on the traditional Renkos. Let's just see where that lines up. So close. Oh, I don't have my other crosshair up here. That's what I'm missing. And I have the bid and ask line on these. So let me get rid of that because that throws me off a little bit. Get rid of the ask line. And why didn't it do it? Let me see what I did wrong here. Show ask line. Okay. There we go. All right. And show ask line. And clean it up over here. All right, good. I just want to check something in my scripts. Oh, maybe I have the wrong one on the script, but I won't change it right now. All right, so we're back to watching paint dry for all intents and purposes. We get rid of this. We don't need this at the moment. Our spread is still at 2 and change. Bernd, how are you doing? Haven't seen you in a while.
Hello, guys. Hello?
Hello, how are you?
Oh, yeah, fine. Yes, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I started my Forex account, doubled it from 100 to $200.
Excellent.
It works. It really works. Very nice.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Good to hear. And that's how you should do it. And then, because a lot of people would have put in like 1,000 or 10,000, depending on what they have, and looking to double it, and probably would have screwed it up. So it's good that you're able to double a small account. That means that's clear indication that you could double a larger account.
Mm.
Same process, just bigger numbers.
Yeah, I started it, and now I've 8 days in green, so that builds up my self-esteem. So
Mm,
very nice.
very good to hear.
Mm.
What are you trading these days?
Forex, Euro, Aussie, all together. It's all on 5 minute and 1889 and so on.
Okay, excellent.
Put together the M30. Look where the 18 is going, and then scroll down to the 5 and get the next entry. That's equal with the cross of the 1889.
Yes, understood. Very good. I'm very, very happy for you.
Thanks. Yeah.
As you can see here on the mean Renko, we had to close below the 89, but below the 18, and we did tap the 89 here. Not so much on the other ones. And each of these moving averages, even though they're all 18, they will all display differently based on the price action and the candles that they're applied to, that the moving average is applied to. So it's interesting. You see here, we're looking basically at a sideways market here with the Heikinashi. Okay, and yet there's a dramatic, easy to see downward move here, and an easy to see downward move here. Also, if we go back to what we use for candle identification, we have 2 candles in a row followed by a candle with a longer wick than the prior candle. And if you remember, the odds are very high in your favor that the next candle will go in that direction, and it did it here. Here we don't have 2 candles in a row. That's usually what I like to see, but we're in an uptrend, so we could certainly follow the uptrend, and we got it there. Here we have 2 candles, and we have the wick that's lower than the prior candle, and the next bar was ours. Now these are all 5 pip bars, and if I were looking to make, let's say 5 pips on each bar, the way I would work this is I would add the spread to the bar. So in this case, the spread is 2.5 roughly. So I would make each bar an 8 pip bar. In fact, we could do that now on this M3. I need to put a title on it though. Let me just put a title on this. So congratulations on your success, Bernd. This is going to be 8 pip. I could have made this a little bit more visible. And we'll make this yellow, and we'll make it a little bit bigger. Okay, go like that. Okay, 8 pip. Now I need to make this 8 pips. I have to go to the M pound dollar. Oh, I don't know which one. I've got 2 of them up here. Oh, I know how to figure it out. Wrong one. That's the traditional Renko. So this is the one I want to change. Expert properties, and I'm going to make this an 8 pip bar. Then on our next tick, all of this changes, and you just saw that, I hope. All of this changed. These are all 8 tick bars now. So let me open this up so you can see. And you see it's displayed again dramatically different than the others. Here we have a very clear uptrend now. So again here, we have 2 candles followed by the one with the wick. And the odds are very, very high that the next candle will go in our direction. So if I only wanted to get that one candle, this one candle, now that it's 8 pips, by the time when that closes, I've got my 5 pips and I've paid my 3 pip spread. So in this scenario, we have a one winner here. This one, I don't have my 2 candles, but I like the length of the wick. If this wick was very close to this one, even with 1 pip, I may not touch it. Very much like this one. But that wick is, as you can see, maybe one, not even a tick below this. That's pretty good. So we can just leave this as it is for the moment. Okay, now we've got a possible setup here. This looks like it wants to creep down. I'm a little bit late on this. Let me go to a 1 minute here. Oh, I can't go to the 1 minute on this. Yeah, I'm a bit late on this. This looks like it would be a decent trade. I'm going to I'll go with 0.25. Keep my risk modest. And we'll look to see what that looks like. Let's look on the other charts. Now see, on the other candles haven't given us a close yet. This one hasn't. But this looks like it could be a decent trade here because we have the bounce off of the 89 here in this case. Okay. Let's watch it unfold, see what happens. My entry was a bit late. It should have been at the open of that candle. Had I caught the open, I would have used a larger lot size. Any questions on the entry? It's, pretty much a textbook entry. I like the fact that this is bouncing off of the 18. It's bounced off a couple of times here already. I've got a little room to the top. I've got a little room left in my daily range. And the 1 hour chart, or the daily chart, I should say. That didn't open, so I'm just going to leave it. The daily still has some room before it hits as you can see here with the daily, that took a long time to open. That shouldn't happen. With the daily, I'm targeting this area as where this push-up could turn back around or stall out right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 candles. So that's kind of the area I'm looking at for this thing to stall. And this thing won't close now. There we go. Where's my terminal? This should still be that old account. Yes, it is. Profit should be in points. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're still looking for our 5 pips. Later on, we're going to be holding these trades longer because I want to do some scaling in and scaling out. But for right now, you know, from 8:30 to 10, I want to try to complete the trades if at all possible. Oh, let me put in my stop. I might take profit. Make this the hot chart. Yeah. Bring this, come on. Bring this down here, and yeah, that'll be my stop. Okay, bring this up here, and yeah, right at that high. Oh, I gotta close this first. Okay. And as we can see here on the mean wrinkle, this would have triggered an entry. This is sloping down a little bit, like it wants to collapse and turn the other way. Same thing here. This is downward sloping, giving us a bit of a wedge. And this could be a 1, 2, 3 here, back to the downside. But until it unfolds, and we won't know this for sure that this is a firm 1, 2, 3 until we close below this center right here. Let me just open that up. And let me get my crosshair over here. So here we have the swing high. A failed attempt to get back to the swing high, and that usually makes 1, 2, 3. So this is the 1, this is the 2, this is the 3. And then traditionally you're taught to trade this at a break of that low right here. And you're taught to take it as trade the break of the low, and your take profit is basically would be this the length of the last solid upward thrust. But it has to unfold completely first, and it hasn't done so yet. All right, let's go back here. Bring this back over here. All right, and this is just slow. This is moving a lot like a Monday. There apparently wasn't any news out today. I didn't check Forex Factory or Dukascopy.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay. Okay, so now I may disappear for a couple of minutes. We have been having a problem with my wife's day nurse. She's been very erratic the last 8-10 days, and I had to jump back into my routine with the laundry and all the other stuff and cleaning up. So they're supposed to send someone today. It may be the same person, could be a new person. So if the doorbell rings, I'm going to disappear, but I'll be back.
Time to change the service.
Yeah, well, it gets complicated, believe me.
Yeah.
And I'm talking with a elder care lawyer actually an estate planner more than anything else, because we have to figure out, how we want to do things with the house and all that.
Sure.
Hey, there's Rob. What's going on, Rob? Oh, someone's writing something in the, who is this? Ron. Just a short question. We reduced our lot size due to the drawdown we were in. Now we are back at break even. Why do we still trade with a reduced lot size? I took that trade with the reduced lot size because the trade itself, you probably missed what I said. Had I been able to catch this trade earlier on down here, I would have gone with the full lot size. But because I got in late, and because this looks like it wants to make a 1, 2, 3 right here. See, it looks like it wants to go up and meander its way back down again. So because of that, I'll still take the long, but I'll reduce my lot size. You follow me on that, Ron? So if it doesn't pan out, it's not that, the loss isn't that dramatic. But I see certain things. I have a little room to the top here, but we've got this downward slope now occurring. So I want to see what's going to happen with that. But this was a good signal to enter. And had I entered down there, we were pretty close to actually getting our 5 pips. Had I caught it right at where I should have, but I didn't. And that's just the nature of the beast.
Okay, I was gone when you opened that. So you opened it because the next candle opened on the other side of the trend line?
Well, the next candle did open at the other side of the trend line, but when I got back to the chart, it was already 2 or 3 pips gone.
Right.
And
okay.
I was hesitant to chase it, but then I decided that it is a good setup, and if I am going to take it, then I'll reduce my lot size. And it looks like we could be working against a bit of a downtrend here. You see that?
Yeah.
So I reduced the lot size on it because it's not like an A trade. It's not like, ooh, here comes the money. Had it been in here, let's say with a strong upward sloping 18,
yeah,
would have been a different story. But you see here, things are starting to flatten out a little bit. So, always protect your account.
Would you mind hypotheticalizing one setup I see in the 5-minute?
Sure. You want me to open this chart up and I'll give you control?
Sure.
All right. So let me open this up. That's Daryl. And give keyboard. Okay, all yours, Daryl.
All right. Okay, so where I'm talking about.
Well, let me get rid of this box here. Go ahead. Go ahead, Daryl.
All right. Okay, so anyways, right here, this would have also been a trend line break.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Right. So, well, roughly right about there, something. Anyways, so my question is, then would the entry be at this open?
I would have had to see it in real time. I may have waited for the next candle, but either one would have been a good trade.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, the only thing is if you're using a 10 pip stop, is that what you're generally going in with?
Yeah, well, 10 pips plus the spread, and that's in case there's a sudden flash jump or something like that.
I see. Yeah, so this one would have been great.
Oh yeah, it would have been fine. A little bit of heat, but overall you would have been okay.
Yeah. Okay, that was my question.
Okay.
I'm done.
So, no volume today at all. Very little action.
Well, as long as I'm still here.
Let's see, that's only 3 pips. I just want to see how many pips per candle we're getting. 3 pips, wow. Yeah, these candle bodies are, the last few bodies are only 3 pips each.
Hmm.
So you need 2 or 3 of them to get any juice out of this lemon. But go ahead, Dal. What were you going to say?
Okay, again over here, is this would this be an entry? Let me get this right here.
Yes.
Okay, and then again, would it be here? Well, yeah, here.
Nope.
No.
I like to stick with the rules. You got to be able to draw that downward sloping trend line.
Okay.
Even though that's a red candle there,
Yeah.
you're not able to draw a downward sloping trend line. So
So here.
that's an entry there too.
All right.
I think I drew these out before. But
Yeah,
that
you
might have
know
been
what?
before I started the actual recorder.
I was busy making my coffee, which is a project because of all the stuff that I add to it. So I probably
Oh,
missed.
okay. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I don't add a lot, but I have a process that I go through.
Yeah, well, let's see. I add butter, MCT oil, and today I'm trying out hemp seed powder.
Hemp seed powder.
Yep.
Okay, that can take on 2 or 3 different connotations.
Well, hemp and pot are two different things. Most
Okay.
people don't realize that. But anyways, yeah. So hemp is simply a product that you can use to make textiles. You can use it to make paper. In fact, that's why it was banned decades ago, is because the paper companies didn't want the competition, because hemp is so easy to grow. It's got a very short growing season. You don't need to use a bunch of chemicals, pesticides, and all that crap. And and plus the protein powder, plus you can build houses with it. I mean,
Mm.
it's it's extremely versatile.
You talk about building houses. I saw something in one of the science websites. I forget which one, but the I think it was the Japanese used a 3D printer to print a house.
Wow.
Yeah, and they were given the dimensions of the printer were just ridiculous, but they actually printed a house using a 3D printer.
Much more effective than baking the largest donut in the world, huh?
I guess so. Yeah, hemp has an interesting history, so thank you for that. Most people associate hemp with a hallucinogenic plant.
Yeah. Well, believe me, I've tried. I was years ago. I was in Illinois, and they call it ditchweed there.
Pitch,
So
like a baseball pitch.
DITCH.
Oh, ditch weed. Okay.
And yeah, I mean you can smoke that, and all you get is a sore throat.
Mm, okay. So I'm assuming you tried it.
I did. I got a sore throat.
Yeah, I've sampled leaf some leafy products, some leafy greens in my day,
Yeah. Anyway.
and sampled enough to build a small village. But I was a road musician then, so there was plenty of it around.
Yo, dude, try some of this shit out here.
Yeah, I was in a restaurant the other day. It's an Irish, slightly upscale restaurant, but
Mm-hmm.
our waiter had a voice that brought me back 30 years because I used to hang out with a bunch of guys like him, and I can't even begin to imitate the voice, but it was that real heavy cigar and bourbon brogue. Hey man, what you guys eating tonight, kind of thing. And it just brought back memories because I was just lived around guys like that. We had some of the best times, man.
Sounds a little bit like Satchmo or something.
Um, yeah, but with the brogue.
Oh, with the brogue. Okay.
Yeah, with that deep, thing going on.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. We're pretty close to our number here. Close order. I'll take the 5.5. No, I just want to get in the habit of just getting off 5 first, and then
And look where that was too, right at the top of the triangle.
yeah, well that's why I drew it, because as I saw it coming against me, I started looking, could this stop somewhere? And I drew the triangle, and sure enough, look where it tapped it, and just took off, and gave us our 5 pips for the day. As far as pips are concerned, Ron, I got to put that ad in for Ron's sake. There we are. Okay.
I
And
guess a journey replenished their supply of microphones, huh, Ron?
no, I guess not.
Well, I mean, he was talking earlier. Oh,
No,
no,
it
that was
wasn't.
burnt. I'm sorry.
No, that
That was,
wasn't Ron.
yeah, it was burnt. Sorry.
Yeah, that was burnt. And I'm glad he's doing okay. Glad he's doing
Yeah, that's
well.
great.
So any questions on that? We made our 5 pips and change. I think it was 5.6. I didn't we didn't get slipped. I know we got the 5 pips and all that. So as far as the pips are concerned, we made our pips. And do you understand why I used the smaller lot size on that? Any questions on that? Not not talking about Aussie, not talking about our 50. Oh, okay. Yeah, you understood. You understood what I meant, Ron. All right. But actually, where are we? We did 21, so we owe ourselves like $20. About 20, another 25, $30, and we'll be good for the 50 for the day also. So like I said, there's never a need to rush. You know, you never have to force a trade. Now, even though this did work out, I chose to be cautious because I didn't get in where I wanted to, you know, and all the other stuff. So you understand my thinking. We still had the room to the top, but you take it with a smaller bite. Or at least I would. And again, I'm not trying to fit round pegs into square holes. I'm just showing you what I do. You know what I mean? And there may be one little piece of it may work for you, and the rest of it might go in the trash can. And I get that. I get that completely. Let's go back here with our mean Renko. You see our mean Renko, our entry was at this high here. Let me open this up. Let's go back to that trade entry. Yeah, that's let me bring this over here. Well, our entry was actually right here on the mean Renko, this bar. Let me open that up and open this up. So here, this is our entry here at the close of this bar. And this bar tapped the 89. We had 2 red bars prior, and we had a longer wick. And this is our entry here, and this should have gone to 10 pips or so. Yeah, like 12 or whatever. So same thing, just a different visualization, a different look at it. All right. Let's go take a look at now on our Heikinashi. Let's open up this Heikinashi here, and let's go back to our original trade entry, which is here. So on our Heikinashi, we've got these 3 small bars here. Let me blow this up. And this is our trend line here across these 3 guys. And that's our entry there at the end of that candle. And this should be about the 10 pips also. And it's about 12 pips. See that? And actually, if I bring this out here, well, this would have been it. I'm trying to super adjust it. I just got to go with what's on the chart. There we go. That's pixels. Let me see something here. No, the array is off. Cancel tools, options, objects. Oh, there we go. This should be a 0. All right. Now I can move that up. There we go. That goes there, and then this comes here. So you see, it's basically the same entry. It's just a matter of what visually looks better to you. And let's see where we are now. Okay, so this is where we are at the moment. And you see here we've made a bunch of sideways movements on the traditional Renko, which I kind of like because that's usually an indication that you're going to get a breakout. It just, displays itself differently. So now, Ron, if we see a real good setup, we made, I think, 21 today. Ron, I realize you're on on the other monitor. It takes me a while to walk over. So we could go 0.5 and then take a trade and not look at the pips, but look at the dollars. You follow that, Ron? If we see another decent trade, yeah, we don't even look at the pips. We know we need like $30, and that's all we're looking at. Boom, we're done for the day. And keep in mind, I'm doing this way so we can be in and out in the time that we're together. I want to keep expressing that because some people think that this is all about just 5 pip trading, and it's not. I just want to show the thinking process and all that. Because if you can, this 1889 works on all time frames. So, and I'm just showing you the combination of getting, if you're going for 5 pips a day, we did that already, but we're looking to do $50 a day also. You got me? So we can get both done at the same time. That'd be great. But I'm expecting some topping action here. If I look at this, we can look at this also. Normally I don't have all this stuff open, but here we've got a little bit of a trend line thingy going here, and I'm taking the two dominant trend lines, the two dominant wicks, I should say. Okay, because these two wicks overshadow this one and this one. So we still have a little bit of a downtrend. We slightly closed below it, but I need the next candle to close above before I'm confident in a long trade. And Rob must be busy doing something else because I wanted to ask him about his chart.
Is
All right.
the top right the mean Renko?
Yeah, this is the mean Renko. Mean or median, they call it MEDIAN, median or mean.
Got it.
And with some of them, this one is set to 50% by default. With some of them, you could set it to like 70%, and this bar will start way down here. Or you can set it to 25%, and this bar will start way up here. Okay. I have not had the opportunity to play with those settings enough to see if there is an advantage. So I stick strictly with the regular mean Renko at 50% and work with that. And then once I get accustomed to that, then if I wanted to tweak or if I could see where tweaking would help, I would do so. But I haven't seen it yet. And I don't think this one can be tweaked anyway. All right, so we're back to watching paint dry again. Let me open up the 5-minute. I'm still not happy, with this because we've got that slight downtrend. Okay, and this is what I drew earlier. It was like this, and I drew this wedge here, and we tapped off the bottom of the wedge. Right. So we could come back down here again to this side of the wedge. So I'm not going to rush into a trade here. And plus, we're still pretty close to our daily range. So I want to be cautious. And keep in mind, the other thing I meant to mention is that we're working with what is traditionally a relatively high spread on the pound dollar, 2.5 pips. Like nobody in their right mind would scalp on it with a 2.5 pip spread. You get me? So when we add up, all of this, I think that this method allows us to not become a victim of the spread psychology. You know what I'm saying? Where the spread is so big and da da da. No, that really doesn't matter if you pick your entries carefully. So I think overall we're doing pretty well in that respect.
Yeah.
And we're still able to make our 5 pips a day, and which is technically a 7 pip move, and we're still able to, well, hopefully get our $50. And this looks like it's going to give us another bar back down to this trend line here. And I'm not trading in both directions, even though I'm pretty sure we got a price trap here somewhere on a 30-minute. Oh, no, I don't want to change that. Let me close this. I'll leave that for the moment. Let me open this up, and let's go down to like a 30-minute. I know there's a price trap there somewhere based on what I see. Yeah, it could be this guy right here or this one on the 30. Let's go to a 15. Let's see what's there. Here's our 15-minute price trap right here. That's what's got us locked up, is this white candle right here. All right, so let's close that. Now that we know what the problem is, let's open this up, and we'll go to a 15. Oh, you know what? If I change the time frame, it eliminates my crosshair. I don't want to take it off the chart just yet. Oh, you know what I could do is just open up another pound dollar chart. Do I have a black and white? Yep, black and white clean. Here we go. Go to a 15-minute chart. And as you can see, this is our price trap. We've got these two candles. This one and this one could not close outside of this guy right here. So that's our situation. So we're looking at what price is that? That's 56,356, and 56,356 to the upside and 56,127 to the downside. So 56,356. Okay, so we can just bring that there, and I'll get rid of this. We might have a trade here. Gotta wait and see what happens with this. Let's bring this down. $156, and did I read that wrong? It can't be 356. Hey, can someone give me that number?
53.6.
56,53.6.
56, 53. No, that's not right.
Okay, well, I'm going to pay attention to this at the moment.
Yeah, it is. It's 36.6 or something.
Okay. Oh, see, this is going to close right back down in here again. Oh, I wanted to open up this lot size a little bit. And 0.5. This is going to come back down inside.
Well, the stocks just opened.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, right, 9:30. Okay. Oh, watch. Now you see why I wait for a candle to close? Because that looked, for all good intent and purposes, it looked like it wanted to go long, but you wait for the candle to close so you don't get lied to. Let's close this and let's just take a look at the rest of them. We had a short entry here. See the wick is higher here than the prior candle, and we had 2 prior candles. So this is a high probability short. But again, we're, trading the 1889 in its regular way. I'm just showing you other trades that are likely to pop up. Okay, so much for that. So much for that long trade. And now this one's kind of blown out of the water because I can't really draw. I'd have to go from this top here. You know what I'm saying? All right. Oh, you still have the control, Daryl. I didn't realize that. Let me take that.
Oh man, could have been having some fun.
Yeah, I know. All right, so we're still in that price trap. Let me go back to that other chart and get that number. I have got to download another FXCM. Where were we here? Oh no, I drew that. No, I drew it on this one. So it's 156, 356. All right. Oop. 156, 356. I just closed the broker.
Why?
I didn't mean to. Yeah, so this should be 156, 356. Let me just set that. 156. Oh, come on. Okay, so that we know is the top of the 15-minute price trap. All right. So let's open this up. We don't need to see much here and here. This wick here, we don't have 2 candles in a row here on this particular, on the traditional Rinkos. So I don't necessarily jump on that. But because we have the sloping 18 and the sloping 89, that might be worth taking a shot at. But my stop would be a bit bigger there. Okay, so if we get a close above this, you see I can't draw my line the way I want to. Oh, I didn't unplug the phone. And I don't know who that is. They will have to wait. I bought a biofeedback machine.
Oh well.
Yeah, to help me learn to relax a little bit. Because with all the moving parts of my life, I'm always running like at just complete 5th gear. And I thought it was kind of interesting. You can look at a rhythmic pattern on a chart, or they have games that you could play. And I got a good laugh out of one of the games. They show you a pot of gold on the right-hand side of the screen, and on the left-hand side of the screen up at the very top, the more you practice relaxing and lowering your breathing rate and your heart rate, as you get lower and lower and in a more relaxed state, out of the upper left-hand corner of the screen, there comes a rainbow. And the more relaxed you get, the longer the rainbow gets, and the rainbow is heading toward that pot of gold. So I'm practicing and relaxing, and I see the rainbow start to come in from the left-hand side. And I get excited, like, oh shit, I'm getting it right. And then the rainbow went right back again because I got pumped up and my heart rate increased and everything. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get excited at the success part of it.
I used to have this recurring dream that was exactly like that. No rainbows, but I would be kind of flying like Superman flying, but just real slow, you know, like cruising above this park, you know, grassy area with trees and stuff. And I think, wow, this is really cool. And then I'd start to think, well, yeah, but what happens if I fall? And as soon as I'd start to think that, then I'd get higher and higher, and then my stress level would go up because, oh my God, now I've got further to fall. Oh my God, you know, then
That's funny. It turns into a nightmare at that point.
yeah.
Okay, so I was hoping that this trade would have unfolded, but it didn't. The big lesson here was that, you know, you wait for the candle to close, because on this particular trade, this candle was green all the way up to here, looking like it was going to go long, but it actually didn't. By the time it finished, it was all the way back underneath our line again. So we'll see. That's the top of that 15-minute trap. And where is the bottom of that 15-minute trap? Is 56,127. So let's go back down here, 156,127. Let's copy this. And 156,127. And that's the bottom of the 15-minute price trap. And you can see here pretty clearly what's going on. See that? And again, this wick with the two prior candles produced, that would have been a nice 5-pip win, but we're only trading in one direction, only trading the 1889 by the regular rules. But as you get more skilled with it, and if you become accustomed to using any of these other candle types, you can certainly trade in both directions once you know what you're looking for. Okay, so now I can draw this line like that. I'm still not really thrilled about a long trade here because this looks like it wants to really turn around. Now, in a case like this, I would go to another pair. You follow me? Because it's probably some other pair that's set up perfectly for a trade in either the long or short direction. But, you know, we said we'd stick with this, and this is actually good, so you can see that it really doesn't matter what pair you're trading or whatever. You can reach the certain goals you're after. So now if this closes below this 15-minute price trap, I would like to see a close below. I want to see a retest that does not close back inside this area. I want the retest to tap this thing and go. I don't care if the wick goes all the way in here, as long as it comes back out and closes back above it, below it rather. Then I'll be confident to look for that first pullback to take a short. We still have to wait for the 18 to creep around though. And we still, I could still draw that wedge in here just for the hell of it. Right there. Let's open this back up again. And let's get this out of the way. This is just ugly, ugly price action in here. Okay, this made a pin bar at that trend line here. We're 1, 2, 3 candles into the pullback. So we may get an opportunity at the open of the next candle, but we'll see. And I have to put I talked about the FX Highway, and someone said they'd heard of it. I'm not sure which FX Highway you were speaking of. There was one that used a combination of fib levels, and you had these long horizontal bars, vertical bars up and down one side of the screen with marks in them. I'm not sure if that's the FX Highway you were talking about. And then there was another system called the FX Highway that was just a traditional Forex trading thing, but he had a tool that set your stop loss and take profit the instant you placed the trade. And that was fairly interesting. So this is going to be a little bit of an iffy trade here. Oh, we got a long way before the next candle. Okay, here we go. All right, see what happens here. I closed the terminal, I didn't mean to. All right, so we're long here. This candle opened on the other side of the trend line that was drawn through these two last red candles. We got a bounce here. We're still above the 80, the 89. So that's, essentially what we're looking at. And there's enough room here. It's about 10 pips or so back to the top. All right, we don't necessarily need 10 pips, but this is the setup, and we'll see what happens here. Any questions on the setup? It's all according to the rules. We're above the 89. So we're looking to go long. We've got a little room left in our daily range to the top side. Not particularly happy with the, with this bottled up price action, but we got to trade what we have. Let me put my stop in, and that's 9, 10, 12 is right about there. Okay. And let's move this up to the top in case we get a splash in our direction. And there. All right. Get that ready. I forget what we need. I think we need like $30. Is that right?
Pretty close.
So like I said, I'm only looking at the dollar amount now. Since we got our 5 pips, like even if I close this now, we still got our 5 plus an extra 2 or 3, and we could wait for a third trade, but I don't know that we're going to get another trade in the time that we're here. You know what I'm saying? And scalpers would have been out already with 2.5 pips, and just sit and wait. There's a whole lot of commotion there for nothing. I don't know what I don't listen to Rand Squawk anymore. Oh, guys. Leave me alone. Let me see who this is. Oh, it's like 10 to 10. All right, so I can't blame them. All right, that's the pharmacy calling. So I know I've got to go pick up some meds. Yeah, this price action is just so godforsakenly slow. Okay, let's go. Keep going. Come on. I'll take the 27. And my reason for doing that is that if you look at the average size of these candles, this may make a little bit of a wick right now. I see what I mean? Well, it stopped. That's basically the same thing. But let's see where we are now. We're 21 and 27 is how much? 48? Yeah, so 48 bucks. So we're $2 light. And I ain't going to be mad at that. Is that okay with you, Ron? We have to check with Ron on these details, you know.
You just cut down on your valet tipping today.
Yeah, I know. More or less our 1%. So goal achieved. Thank you, Ron. Okay. Yeah, so we can wait for the 2 more bucks. But as I said, when I saw the size of this candle body, it was like the size of this one. And you average out, I figured this is going to make a wick on top. Now, while it didn't make the wick, the fact that this candle has drawn back is equivalent to that same thinking. Did you follow me on that? Everybody? Or was that a little bit too quirky?
I think I got it. Would you repeat that?
Yeah, when I see a solid candle body like this, and like when I measured a lot of these candle bodies, they were only 3 to 5 pips or so each. Usually what happens when you get a long solid body, it at near the end of the candle, it pulls back and makes a wick. So I said, you know what? I got 27 bucks right there. Let me take it, because if I wait any longer, this candle's going to make a top wick. And while the candle closed, it didn't make a top wick. Look what the next candle did. That's equivalent to basically this candle making a wick. And like I said, I was only looking at the numbers. I don't even know how many pips it was. I was only looking at the numbers. We needed like 30 bucks to get our goal. So we missed it by $2. I ain't mad. So we got our 5 pips for the day if you were doing only 5 pips a day, and we got our 50 bucks for the day if we were looking to make 1% per day. Yeah, well, the exits are, that's where the magic is in Forex trading. Ron is saying that what he's learning watching me is how important the exits are. And the exits are, that's the really tricky part. Like when I used to teach students in the city, I had an exercise where everybody would look at everybody else's computer and just enter a trade anywhere they wanted to. And then when you went back to your computer, you were in the trade. And my exercise to you was, I would, let's say they come back to the computer and the trade is short. I would say that, okay, you have to manage this trade until it's a profitable long trade. Now, back then we could hedge. So you had to learn how to hedge. You had to learn where to put the hedge, and then you had to learn when to take the hedge off so you could be in profit at the end of the trade. And it really made you think. It really, really made you think. And the other expression I used to have was that a blind monkey with syphilis could hit a mouse button and get in a trade. Getting in a trade, there's no magic to that. It's how do you get out with money in your pocket? That's the key.
Not fair to monkeys.
No, but I was watching TED Talks the other day, and they had asked a bunch of college students, um, which countries do you believe have the highest mortality rates or whatever? And they answered it, and I think it came out like 1.4% of the students had it right or some such thing. And then they gave a series of bananas to monkeys, and like the countries were marked on the bananas, and the monkeys could just pick one of the two bananas, and the monkeys got 2.5% correct. Then he gave the same survey to college professors, okay? And the college professors were almost on par with the monkeys, which I thought was really funny.
Oh, so they are smarter.
Yeah, well, you never know. I was one of the construction jobs we had was we were rebuilding a portion of the Central Park Zoo, and someone donated a huge amount of money to rebuild the living quarters for the large apes, and they had like the real big apes, the gorillas and the silverbacks and all that. Two things that struck me was the detail they went into in making it look like a real forest. They had these trees that were actually made out of concrete, but they had artists come in with small little handheld jackhammers and stuff, and they chipped and chipped and chipped away at the concrete until it looked exactly like the bark of a tree. I was completely blown away by that, the skill in the artistry. The other thing I thought was interesting was that they were putting in radiant heat floors. Now, if you don't know what radiant heat floors is,
Oh,
yeah, it's a series of pipes or tubes that run in an up or down fashion, almost like a stochastic, and they run hot water or a hot liquid through it, and then they put the concrete over it. So when you stand on the floor itself is always warm and hot air rises, so it creates a different sense of warmth in the room. You got me? It's very expensive, but it's
yeah.
also very good. So I'm busy moving concrete with my shovel, and I'm realizing I'm building a home for a damn gorilla with radiant heating in it, and I don't have radiant heating in my house. I started to wonder now, wait, which one of us is the damn ape here? You know? So I got a good laugh out of that.
Uh,
Okay,
yeah.
so we
And in fact, we have that in our basement.
radiant heat.
Yeah.
Okay,
We used PEX. Is that what you used?
I don't remember. It
It
was a
was a
number of years
type
ago.
tubing.
Yeah, yeah, it's tubing. We actually used
Okay. Very-
it was a clear, a very heavyweight clear tubing with a wire mesh in it.
Oh, I
So,
see. No, that's different.
yeah, that's what we used. And we laid it on the floor, then poured like an inch of concrete on it, and it was just an interesting experience. But it made me wonder which one of us was actually the dummy here. He getting a $2.5 million home makeover with radiant heat and all that. So, and you see here we had another trade pop off. We never went down to the 1 minute today, which we could have probably caught this one on 1 minute, but we got our goal. I'm not going to push it. This candle here we talked about earlier ended up producing a possible winner. We got a way to go yet, to see that come to fruition. On our Heikinashi, let me go here, here. Our Heikinashi's here, and that's our open there, and that's produced 10 pips already. All right. So, and again, you see this top is still holding this 15-minute price trap right there.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and that was my target on this, by the way, was to get up here. But when I saw this candle finish the way it did, I didn't want to take this ride. I didn't want to take this ride with the red candle. So I got out, you know, I can, the $2 won't hurt me. Um, any questions on what we did today? All right, we got our 5 pips off the first trade. If we're looking just to do our 5 pips a day, we made our $50 to do our 1% per day in a very ugly market. Okay, this is an ugly market. We're trapped in a wedge and in a 15-minute price trap. But by sticking with our rules, staying with the trend, you see, you know, you can actually make your numbers work. The market conditions don't should not have a major effect on whether or not you can reach your goal, as long as you stick with your system, whatever the system is. Okay, and we still have a 2.5 pip spread. So we've got like a lot of stuff other people would say were like bad conditions, but if if you stick with your system, stick with your rules, there really aren't any bad conditions. There are conditions that are not ideal, but they're certainly not conditions you can't make money in. So that's a real important thing to understand. You're going to hear people complaining about this chop all day long, but we got what we needed out of this chop because we knew what our goal was when we started. We knew how much we needed in pips. We knew how much we needed in dollars, and that's what we locked in on. We know the system that we're trading. We know the rules of the system that we're trading, and we didn't break any of those rules. So, you know, it works, and we fixed that issue we had with missing trades. You know, haven't missed any. Oh, this is the wrong one. I got to go to the other one, to the other broker. That was a kind of cool trick too, by the way, Tony, with copying the server files. Let me go back out to the daily here. I have to download another copy, but I'm afraid of losing all my information in here. Yeah, you see, you guys can't see that my screen just grayed out, right? Okay, so you see on a daily, let me get rid of this. On the daily, this is that area that I said I was expecting this thrust up to get up in this area, which would be roughly equal to this last thrust. Okay, it's actually a little bit shorter, but if this keeps the symmetry, we should end up in here. So that's why my bias for the day was long. This is the area I wanted to target. And let me go here. I just want to see where we are at the moment. And where were we? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 trades, 1 losing trade. So that's not so bad. And as I mentioned, you know, it is realistic to go on a run of like 20 trades in a row. I know that may sound far-fetched, but it really is realistic. Or doable, let me put it that way. It is doable. So, I don't know, what was that, 13? I don't even remember. I forgot to count now. But it's a good win rate, is the other thing. Ron is saying, should we add a second pair? I'll think about that. Maybe I'll give someone the job of being the watchdog on the second pair. But I want you to see, you know, really the big context in this was that we did have a bit of a drawdown. We looked at why did that happen, what caused it, and then we fixed that. And then we went on what I call a normal trading run. Okay? That was the most important thing to get out of this, more so than running around from pair to pair to pair or system to system to system, because you never really get like one thing under your belt. Okay? Yeah, it is good for a good win rate for the recent 2 weeks, and it's not pie in the sky. I mean, I'm doing it right in front of you, live, and I'm explaining every detail, every entry. I'm giving as much of an explanation to you as I possibly can as to why I'm doing certain things. And we're still, I don't know what the success rate is on that. If someone could do the math, I think 13 trades and 1 loss. What, I don't know what the percentage on that is. So that's why I'm always a little cautious about these gurus selling these $5,000 systems, because they won't do what I do. They won't sit with you and show you exactly what they did, how they did it, and why they did it right in front of you. Everything's always after the fact. Or as Ron said, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And our shoulda, coulda, woulda trades would have all been pretty, most of them would have been very, very good winners, but they weren't the 1889. There were other things that we saw while we were trading. Now we see we have this wick here. The key to this is whether or not this is going to close underneath this price trap. It made a long wick, went right up to R1, tapped the R1, but now I want to see, will it close below the price trap? And that would give us an opportunity to take a trade. I mean, it would give us a beat on which way the market is going. It's a couple minutes after 10, and I need to go address the pharmacy. But I'm curious as to what this candle is going to do. Okay, so now it closed above. Now I want to see the next candle not close below here. I want this candle to not close back in here. If this candle closes in here, then this could be a false breakout, and this market may turn back and go down again. So that would be my key. All right. Huge difference. Yeah, Ron. Well, that's what I've always tried to do. That's why I offered a money-back guarantee when I was teaching in Manhattan. But the guy I was working with didn't want to do it. I didn't like the fact that he was charging people $5,000, you know. And I got a percentage of that, of course, because I was doing all the work. But I wanted to give a money-back guarantee that if you take 100 trades doing what I show you how to do, if your account isn't profitable after 100 trades, then I personally believe you should get your money back, because we didn't do what we said we were going to do, which was teach you how to trade. But he just had a fit, you know, don't give the money back and blah, blah. And, anyway, but he's out of business now, ironically. And I wish him luck. I got no bad feelings toward him.
It's not your fault.
What's that?
I said it's not your fault.
No. Him and his partners couldn't get along. Was what the outcome of all that was. All right. If there aren't any questions or anything, I'm just going to briefly recap. We had our direction of the day, which was long, and that was based on the daily chart. Okay, we have our first thrust up, our pullback, and this should be the second thrust up, and this is the area that I'm thinking we will get a stall out or a reversal right here. So that's why my bias for today was long. Then we went down, to our normal trading chart, and, prices were above the 89. And we were looking for pullbacks, at or near our 18. And those are the trades we took. Our goal was 5 pips a day for those that want to go by pips only. And we did that on the first trade. But we also have a goal of earning 1% per day, which means $50 per day, which we came $2 short of that. But that's, I can live with that. We're still, we met our both of our goals. So it was, a decent day. And we took another look at these, the mean Renkos, the traditional Renkos, and the Heikin-Ashi bars also. All right, so I will render this, and I'll post this. I have to post the other one in the room, and I'll try to catch up with Rob later because I really want to see his charts. We could probably learn quite a bit from it. All right, guys. If
Very
there's
good.
no more questions, I'll say so long for now, and we'll try this again tomorrow morning.
Okay.
All right,
Thanks, sir.
and yeah, eventually we will move on to another system, but I want to give this, one more week of this, just to prove, some sort of consistency or whatever. All right, gentlemen, I will see you all tomorrow morning. And Rob, I'll be looking to catch up with you a little bit later in the day. Okay, guys, take it easy.